Hello, lovelies. Long time no see for some of you. Welcome. And guys, it is Wednesday, and I am going to tell you, I am kind of glad this week's almost over. If you're new here, I am Terry True Crime, and welcome to Midday Missing, where we highlight current missing person cases that need more attention. We do these live shows every Monday and Wednesday at noon Central Time, unless there is court going on over on Couch Court with Llama, then we kind of move things around. Now, if you are here from Couch Court with Llama, do not worry. I promise you, you will not miss anything. I will end before that comes back so that you can see everything. Hello, everybody in chat. For those of you that just joined, I was over helping out Llama on Couch Court, and they were all so great and welcoming to me, even though I know they were rolling their eyes, going, "Oh my God, Terry has so many opinions. Where's our Llama?" I know that's what they were thinking, and it's okay because I have a lot to say sometime. But welcome. Hi, Buffy. It looks like Lainey's here. Dope's here. Motion, Angie, y'all are all here. Thank you. I am so glad you're here. Now, this first case, we're going to go back a little ways, okay? And what I want you to stop and think about is where you would be and what you would be feeling like if this had happened to your family, okay? Because on a warm summer day in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 15-year-old Edna Christine Thorne left her family home on North Front Street with a very simple plan. She was going to visit the pony she had just gotten at a stable over on Tioga Street. I mean, yes, I want to go play with a pony. Now, it was June 24th, 1975. She had recently graduated from Stetson Junior High School and was beginning to enjoy a sense of independence, often spending her free time around animals. And guys, they said this was something she dearly loved. She was an animal person, kind of like me. Now, Edna wasn't particularly outgoing, but she had a kind spirit and a quiet presence. Okay. She had brown eyes, brown hair. Her hair was often dyed blonde. Okay. She stood about 5 feet tall and weighed 105 pounds at the time of her disappearance. Now, that day, she wore a striped shirt, bell bottom jeans, which was a typical outfit for a teen in the mid 70s. Now, she didn't take a purse or money with her, just a pack of cigarettes. Okay, I'm not shaming anyone, but I was only 5 in 1975. Could someone tell me why a 15-year-old was smoking cigarettes? I mean, I know it was the 70s. Was that something that was common? I mean, my parents smoked like lots of cigarettes, but did 14-year-olds smoke cigarettes and was it okay? Was it? I mean, I don't know anything about that. I mean, like I said, I was 5. So to me, I was like, "Holy macaroni and cheese. That's young." Okay, I'm glad it's a law now. I see some of you saying that was common. I mean, I had candy cigarettes that you pretended to smoke. But yeah, I'm glad that now you've got to be 18 and that we've learned our lessons about that and that 14-year-olds should not be smoking. Now, according to her family, Edna had asked her sister to join her that day, but her sister declined. So Edna made the trip to the stable alone. Guys, it was the last time anyone would see her. Now, she made the trip alone and she was seen leaving the house that morning. And it was confirmed she arrived at the stable where her pony was being kept. But what happened after she left the stable is a complete mystery. Guys, she never returned home. She was never sighted again. Nothing. Okay. Her family reported her missing soon after. Now, initially, law enforcement suspected she had maybe run away, which, guys, it was a more common assumption back then. when teens go missing that they were runaways. Still happens occasionally today, but I hope it's less. Sorry, guys, my nose is itching. But those who knew Edna didn't believe she would have left voluntarily. Okay. Despite spending some time in foster care in the past due to some family issues, she had reconnected with her family and was beginning to settle back into a more stable environment. Now, I have to say, can you imagine the guilt her sister has lived with because she said no and didn't go with her to the stables? Guys, I want to remind you before we continue with the story, when someone goes missing, it's not just the person who's impacted, okay? It's their family, okay? Soon after her disappearance, Edna's sister began receiving disturbing anonymous phone calls. The caller described in detail the clothes Edna had been wearing and claimed to know where her body could be found, specifically in Pennypack Park. Now, the caller never identified themselves and hung up each time. Guys, these calls, I mean, they unsettled the family. This is re traumatizing the family. But the leads never developed into anything that was confirmed evidence. And we've got to remember, guys, back in 1975, you could not do call tracing and all the fancy stuff we do today. Now, as the years went by, Edna's case was reclassified as a non family abduction. Why it took years, I don't know. And then eventually, they have said it's a suspected homicide. Now, despite this, her remains have never been found. No one has ever been charged in connection with her disappearance. Okay. Some theories that emerged, including disturbing suggestions from within the family. At one point, a relative alleged that Edna may have been sexually abused by her brother in law and possibly pregnant at the time she vanished. Guys, these allegations have never been substantiated by police, but it did raise some flags and questions about whether Edna's disappearance may have been an attempt to silence her or cover something up. Now, I am that firm believer that in every rumor, there could be a piece of truth. Even if the only truth, say the rumor is Terry went out, got drunk on Tuesday. Maybe I went out, got drunk, but it wasn't on a Tuesday. So there always can be a little bit of information. That is true. Now, Edna's case was entered into multiple national databases in hopes of a breakthrough. An age progressed image of Edna was developed by NCMC to show what she might look like as an adult. DNA and dental records are on file, making identification possible if she or remains are ever found. But, guys, despite these efforts, the trail remains cold. To this day, Edna's family and advocates continue to seek answers. Though the initial investigations suffered from the limitations of the 1970s, I mean, their missing person protocols were a lot different than what they are now. So, especially for teens presumed to be runaways, her case has remained open. Now, organizations like the Charlie Project and Doe Network have worked to keep Edna's story in the public eye. Posts about her case continue to circulate online, especially among missing person advocates, amateur sleuths, and the true crime communities like ours. The family's pain, however, remains. Decades have passed with no resolution, and Edna's story has become a symbol of how quickly a young life can disappear without answers and how hard families must fight to keep these memories alive. Guys, it's heartbreaking, okay? Edna has been missing for over 49 years. Can you imagine? I I can't. I can't even put myself in their shoes. I can't wrap my mind around what that must be like. Now, her mother sadly passed away without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. Guys, that's horrific. In a recent Facebook post, her sister posted, "No update. Haven't had any in years. I still can't believe we have nothing, no answers. My poor mother would say a prayer every night and every morning for answers. She passed 7 years ago at the age of 96 and always prayed for answers on her daughter, which she never got." Guys, time does not make the pain go away for the family. They do not forget. Stop and think. They go to bed every night wondering, was she tortured? Was it a fast death? Was she taken and has she been held captive? What happened? Okay. Every night and wake up every day. I want you to think about that. That is torture day after day. So I want to ask if you know anything, please call the Philadelphia police at 215-686-8477. Guys, it's never too late to give the family answers. I'm not going to say closure, but answers, because every family has a different look of what closure would mean for them. Kelly, I agree. If she is deceased, I I hope they were reunited in heaven as well, because as a mom, as a person, I can't imagine. Okay. Also, guys, if you know of a case of a missing person, or if you have a loved one that's missing and you want us to feature their story on an upcoming episode, please reach out to us. We would love to cover their story. Okay. And if you're close to this person or a family member and want to come on for an interview, contact us. Okay. You can contact Amy, our assistant producer, at her email, amy@tcwtmedia.com, or me at terry@tcwtmedia.com. Or guys, send us a DM on our Facebook page or any of our social media pages. Okay. Now, this next case is a little bit closer to my heart, and I'll tell you why. But before I do that, I'm going to ask you all to go hit that like button, because it helps the families find these stories, learn about these stories, and it helps those algorithm gods. Okay. Don't ask me what algorithm gods are. I just hear they're out there. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this case is I went with JT, my former co host, to a podcast festival a year and a half ago. I actually met Allison, and you're going to hear about her as we get into this story. Okay. On a snowy night in January 1981, a young mother vanished from her home in Hayfield Township, Pennsylvania, leaving behind a mystery that has haunted her family for over 4 decades and continues to haunt them today. Lonene Rad Rogers, known affectionately as Lonnie, was just 29 years old when she disappeared without a trace. Lonnie was born on October 18th, 1951 in Ohio. Okay. Her parents were Maxine and Ray, and she had two younger sisters, Glenn and Maya. She was profoundly deaf, but fiercely independent, guys. She was raised in a family that refused to isolate her from the world. She attended public school, learned to lip read, and signed fluently. Guys, that is a family who loved and accepted her for the way she was and helped her to have the best life she can have. Okay. Her loved ones described her as joyful, expressive, and full of warmth. I can't even talk. Lonnie had a vibrant spirit. Guys, she loved to dance, even though she couldn't hear the music. She felt the rhythm through vibrations and dance. Guys, she probably has better rhythm than me. Okay. It was at the Erie Silent Club that Lonnie met Clinton Bud Rogers, a fellow member of the deaf community, but was quite and seemed eager to fit in with her family. Though Maxine said something felt off about him, still Lonnie followed her heart. Okay. The two married and had two children, Allison and Aaron. Now, the couple moved frequently before settling into a second floor duplex in Little Corners, Hayfield Township. The location was ideal. Lonnie's parents and grandparents lived just across the way. But, guys, the dream did not last. Sorry, Lainey, no, we are now talking about Lonene Rogers. I will come back and answer your question when I finish. Now, by the late 80s, the marriage began to crack under Bud's repeated arrest and theft, okay, and mounting tensions in the marriage. The couple separated. Bud moved out to live with his parents 40 minutes away. Still, for the children's sake, Lonnie allowed him to stay during the holidays with her. After New Year's, when Bud was supposed to leave, he refused. Okay. On January 6th, 1981, Lonnie told her father she planned to ask Bud to move out. Her father gave her $60 to help her out. Okay. The next day, she went to work her regular housekeeping shift at the Meadville Inn. After work, she picked up her children and she returned home. Everything normal. That night, a heavy snowstorm blanketed the area. Now, on the night of January 7th, 1981, the snowstorm, they say, was furious and it swept across the county. And inside the duplex, tensions were boiling. Okay. It was getting hot. Lonnie and Bud argued again. He refused to leave. Guys, she was like, "This is my place. I let you stay here with the kids for the holidays. It's time to get the hell out, dude." That's me, what I would say of her. Okay. Now, according to Bud, he said he went to bed after their argument, which was sometime between 1 and 3 a.m. So he claimed. Lonnie simply vanished, guys. But what she left behind tells a different story, okay? Her hearing aids, her glasses, her purse, her medication, her car keys, and her Mustang, okay, were left behind. Now, a pink king size blanket was missing from the bed, but everything else was left behind. Now, Bud woke up the kids the next morning and drove them 15 minutes through the snow to a babysitter's house. Now, the babysitter later recalled how sweaty and anxious Bud appeared. He told her Lonnie had left him for another man and he had to go find her. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. Okay. Bud, bullshit. Now, what he did for the next 4 hours is unknown. Okay. Now, at 7 a.m., he showed up to work on time and stayed the entire shift. Okay, guys, I'm going to try not to rant, but you refuse to leave her house. You say you go to bed. She comes up missing. You take the kids to a babysitter. Okay. That goes on. Then you go to work and act like nothing's wrong. Even me, who didn't get along with my ex, I wouldn't have let him stay in my house. I let him come for Christmas, but I didn't let him stay in my house. I still would not have gone to work if my kid's father was missing. Why? Because it was my kid's father. Okay. So I bullshit. Oh, Savage Cashew, I agree. Who leaves behind the Mustang? And there was a snowstorm. Did she just go for a walk in the snow? Okay. Now, the babysitter concerned called Lonnie's father. The babysitter, rock star. Okay. Her dad immediately went over to her house and found the doors locked. And after knocking with no answer, he kicked down the door, guys. Good job. Okay. Inside was a meticulously clean home, and Lonnie was not there. Her dad, Ray, called 911. He said the house was eerily spotless. Police arrived shortly before Bud returned. Why is he returning to a home that is not his? I don't know, but red flag to me. Okay. An argument broke out between Ray and Bud. You think? I have to tell you, if that would have been my dad would have gone to jail because Bud would have had some bruises on him. Not saying I condone violence. I'm just telling you what my dad would have done. Now, Ray also noticed that Bud had $60 on him, matching the exact amount he had given Lonnie the night before. Okay. Now, Bud claims she gave him the money to pay a bill. Really? Who thinks that? Who thinks she has $60 her dad gave her and she gave it to the man she wants to get the hell out of her house? I could see, okay, you walk outside to leave. I'll give you the $60, slam the door and lock it. That's just me. Now, police brought Bud in for questioning, but when they realized they couldn't communicate effectively with him, they abandoned the interview. Guys, why didn't they have someone who could sign on staff? Why couldn't they write the words down? I have a lot of questions about that. But anyway, Bud simply walked out because no interpreter was provided. Guys, no follow ups have been documented that we know of, but it was never arrested or named a suspect by law enforcement. I am saying law enforcement for a specific reason. Okay. Now, life after Lonnie's disappearance was marked by instability and heartbreak for Allison and Aaron. They were passed between relatives. Now, on her brother's birthday, Bud demanded Allison ride in the bed of his truck. Guys said upset and freezing. She protested loudly. Okay, guys, I am so frustrated. He pulled into a police station and told her to lie, to say she was bad and that he wasn't taking her back. Now, a patrol officer tried to stop him, but Bud left anyway. Allison, in that moment of despair, remembered the scrap of paper her school guidance counselor had given her earlier that day. She handed it to the officer. That phone call changed her life. It was the beginning of her escape and the start of a lifelong mission. Guys, by the time Allison turned 14, Bud had abandoned her altogether. It is said Allison never saw her father again. Now, years later, haunted by the silence surrounding her mother's disappearance, Allison began her own investigation, digging through what police records she could get, speaking with family, and reconstructing the timeline. She refused to let the world forget Lonnie. Guys, she wrote a memoir and she became the face of her mother's case. When I met her, I'm getting goosebumps. She is so passionate about getting the truth. Okay. She believes the truth lies with Bud. And Allison, I agree with you. Okay. I agree with you. She also believes others in the deaf community who may know more than they've shared. Okay. But Allison has not spoken to Bud since the night he abandoned her. Guys, Allison has also become a passionate advocate for cold case families. She proposed legislation known as Lonnie's Law, which would give families access to investigate case files after a case has remained unsolved for 20 years. Guys, I think we talked about it way long ago on a TCWT episode when it was still going around. I signed it. We asked people to sign it. The bill has drawn attention across Pennsylvania as more families demand transparency and accountability in long-term missing person cases. Guys, I agree with her. I think if the state hasn't found the person, I say 15 years, 10, 15 years, they should open up the case files either to family, private investigators. They should ask for help. And if the family wants to help, help, especially when it's the child and the child's now an adult and this child believes it was their dad because he's sus is all get out, okay, you should, okay? Today, Lonene, who also called Lonnie's case, remains open with the Pennsylvania State Police. It is classified as an active missing person investigation, though no new leads have been publicly reported in years. Advocacy groups, including Season of Justice and Light the Way Missing, have supported her family's search for answers by funding awareness campaigns and billboards. Guys, if you've never checked out either of those advocacy groups, I'm going to ask you to do that, okay? Because they are amazing organizations. Some of the families that we've had come on Midday Missing, we've referred them to these groups. They have helped them. They are amazing. If you want to donate or you're in a position, please, they do the hard work and the good work, okay? They don't care if they are not perfect victims, and I like that because I agree. There is no such thing as a perfect victim. Now, Justice for Lonnie now lives through her daughter's voice, through the community's calls for answers, and in every missing person poster that bears her name. Okay. She was a mother, a sister, a friend. Guys, she did not just vanish and leave behind her children, her car, her hearing aid, and her stuff. Okay. She did not. Someone knows what happened to Lonene Rogers. Bud, your family, somebody, come forward. Okay. And until that truth is spoken, her family is not going to stop. So, but if you think they're going to go away, if anybody who knows thinks they're going to go away, I can tell you, Allison is one determined woman. She ain't going anywhere. Okay. So if you know anything about the disappearance of Lonene Ray Rogers, known as Lonnie, please contact the Pennsylvania State Police at 814 332 6911. You can also head over to FBI Gov. Oh, looks like they put in the link for you. You can also go and do that. Because let me tell you guys, I agree with Allison after reading the book and the memoir of her mom. But but even without reading the police report, I am going to make a statement. I think he was involved or he knows something. Okay. Also, their missing poster flyers will be on our Midday Missing Facebook page. Please go and share them. Okay. It's not a lot, but guys, it just takes getting the word out for somebody to come forward and say, you know what? It's been enough time. I'm going to go say something. Okay. Whew. Now, I do have some tips for you. I have some back to school tips. I know school has started different times, but all these kids should be back in the school by this week. Okay. But guys, it's an exciting time. And for parents that've got little ones, it's also a time to be able to breathe and not have the tornado in your house all day long because they're at school. But it's also a good time to brush up on safety. Okay. You want to make sure your kids know the route that they are walking, biking, riding the bus. Okay. Practice that route with your child so they feel confident. Okay. Also, please remind your kids to never accept rides, gifts, or help from a stranger. I say that if a law enforcement officer pulls up in a police car, that is not a stranger. Okay. If they come up in plain clothes and they've got a badge in their hand, tell them to get a squad car there. Okay. Also, have a safe word. Okay. One that only you and your child know. So that way, if you do need someone else to pick them up, you can give them that word. Okay. Guys, here in the Austin area, this has happened already this school year. Teach your kids to stay seated on the bus. If there are seat belts, please use them. There was just recently a major bus crash. Kids were not wearing their seatbelt. It was it was a problem, okay? Also, tell your kids to cross 10 feet in front of the bus so the driver can see them, okay? Oh, bye, Dave. Bye, Dave. Also, I've talked about this for digital safety. Back to school means more online activity, doing homework searches. Please remind kids, teenagers not to share your personal info, locations, or passwords, even with your friends. Guys, that's not just kids, that's all of us, okay? Also, encourage the buddy system where you can. There is safety in numbers. It is harder to abduct two people, okay? Tell them to scream, kick, yell, whatever they need to do. Guys, also make sure your school has up to date phone numbers so they can contact you. Also, guys, your child needs to know a couple of phone numbers by heart. Even me, gotten so used to having my cell phone and just pressing my favorites, I don't remember numbers, but I do know 3 numbers that I can call in case of an emergency. Do the same thing with your kids. Also, make sure they know their home address. Okay. Also, make sure they know your parents' names and your grandparents' names. My grandson still thinks my name is Mama. Okay. And I have to remind him it's Terry. And yeah. So, also, guys, it's a good time to start teaching your kids at any age to trust their instincts. Kids have instincts too. Okay. And tell them it's okay to say no or to walk away, even if it's adults. Okay. Tell them if it feels weird, if you just get, goosebumps, you just feel weird, it's okay to walk away. Okay. Also, healthy boundaries. Remind them it's okay to have personal space. And if someone's making them uncomfortable, speak up. Okay, Savage. Sadly, we do have to say that. Do not try to record TikToks while you're driving. Do not text while you're driving unless you're using voice to text in a car. Do not film TikToks unless you're the passenger. Yeah, and also, guys, because I play Pokemon Go, do not play Pokemon Go when you're driving unless you have an auto catcher. Let's just don't. Okay, let's just be smart. I mean, yeah. But hey, guys, that's all of my tips. But I want all of the littles to have great school years and for them to be kids. Let's let them be kids, but let's also teach them things to be safe. We don't have to tell them all of the bad things that can happen, but we can help them be safer. Okay. Now, I want to thank you all for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again Monday for our next episode of Monday Missing. Lord, I've been on camera too long. I don't know how Llama does it all day on Midday Missing. Guys, please go join our Facebook group for Midday Missing. That's where we share all our missing person posters as well as share other posters that we verified. Guys, also follow us on all social media if you're on social media because believe it or not, Terry True Crime does post some crazy stuff. Just posted today about the missing rabbit in my house. That if you want to know about the missing rabbit in my house, you're going to have to go and read it on my Terry True Crime page because it's a story in itself. Okay. Also, guys, remember True Crime and Wine Time airs every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. We offer weekly deep dives, rants, look into shocking cases that we pair perfectly with wine or something to take the edge off. This week is part 3 of the Aton Pates case. And guys, if you haven't watched the first 2, you're going to want to go watch them before tomorrow night. And you also want to be ready for Llama, I think is going to blow me out of the water with rants. I think she is going to one up me on the rants. Okay. Now, guys, I am not going to be able to portal you back over to Couch Court with Llama, but I will go and start Couch Court for Llama so that it is ready and waiting when she gets there. So I will see you over there. If you're not joining us there, please stay safe, stay aware. If you see something, say something. And guys, let's do what we can to help these families bring their loved ones home because I have to tell you, the thought of going 49 years without knowing what happened to your loved one sounds like pure hell to me, and no one should have to experience that. So please do what you can. Bye, guys. See you soon.